Yeah. Ready?
Yeah,
right here like this. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Notarile. I am the writer and director of the Deadpool Web Series. I am also the voice of Deadpool. And joining me today is Damian Dragon Vargas, who is the body of Deadpool. Damian, how are you doing?
I'm good. Feeling good. A little older, but still good. Still sexy.
It's been what, 8 years, I believe, since we did this.
Yeah, it's been 8 years, and what's really cool is like what we were talking about before is it's like, you know, people are still into it, even though we got to only do the 3, and then it's still getting re-uploaded in like multiple languages. I've seen it in Russian, French, Spanish, Italian. It's like, it's insane that people are still loving it to this day.
Is it funny still? That's the question.
Is it still funny? I think so. I think they're still funny.
All right, so in the time that, you know, since we did this, we did ours. We started officially in 2012. In December, we made the teaser short, and then we started filming, I believe, in January. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
We started filming in January. In that time, we've had the release of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool footage, which came out, I believe, in 2015.
Yeah.
Then we had the Deadpool feature film, which came out in 2016, followed by the sequel, which was 2018, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
All right. So we've had all this explosion of Deadpool with actual Ryan Reynolds and everything. I was trying to do my impression of him as best I could because we all knew that was the logical progression for casting.
Of course.
How much do you think they stole from us?
Oh, plenty.
Go on, tell me. What do you think? What do you think they took from us?
Okay, so first off, there was the Christmas teaser. Right out the gate was the Christmas teaser, which is exactly the
teaser
one of the first things.
You were in front of the Christmas tree.
Which was me sitting in front of the Christmas tree and everything like that. And then, oh, look, here they are. And then also, prior to the movie's release and prior to our show's release, you had all the photos with the blood splatters and everything like that.
I do remember that was, what was that, Empire Magazine?
Empire Magazine, where it was Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds get up with a blood splatter background and everything, exactly as done years prior and everything like that, in the way that you had put it all together. And then there was like, when the movie came out, then it was us when it was like, whoa, there's a couple of things in there that I recognize that are kind of familiar.
What things stuck out to you the most? We'll do each film. So in the first film, what are some things that stuck out to you most that felt like ours?
When he gets the agent in what looks to be like a, you know, like a whole like warehousey type thing, which is very reminiscent of episode 2 and everything like that. My wife called that one out before I even noticed. She goes, "You didn't notice that one?" I said, "I didn't think about it." She looked at it much. She says, "I'll look at it." And I said, "Oh, that's pretty much the same scenery setup that we did." There was that one. There was one clip they kept using in the trailer, but it didn't make the movie, which you know, where he like takes the thing and he goes, "Oh," like the suck it thing, and I'm like, I did that in episode 2 versus the Gingerbread Man.
Yeah.
And everything. Yeah. I did the suck it thing.
The suck it thing,
and then he did. They only used that clip in the movie trailer, but as soon as it came out, I was like, "Huh." There was that one, and I know there was like quite a few other ones, but like now all of a sudden but like those were always the major standout ones, like right away. And the Christmas one, and a lot of the fans picked that out really quick though. They were like, "Hold on, wait a minute, like we've seen that before."
Yeah.
Everything.
How about in Deadpool 2? Anything that stuck out in your mind in the sequel that felt like our series?
Nah, I just was trying to, honestly, I mean, it was what it was. I was just trying to make it through Deadpool 2. I mean, I thought Deadpool 1 was better. Deadpool 2 was, yeah. Like the one thing and again, this is not a favoritism thing. This is like literally like the character and the way it's written, portrayed. And before anybody jumps for reasons, I was not a fan of Domino and Deadpool 2, not for who played it before everybody, you know, goes into a tizzy. It was for how she was written and how she was portrayed. she was just like a little too peppy or whatever like that. And when Chris did Domino, she was she was pissed off all the time. And that's more so the essence of what Domino was. Like what you had in the series was more Domino and everything like that. And I explained that a couple of times to people too. I was like, she was too peppy and too light, and it just didn't come off
lucky. Get it?
Yeah, she was like, exactly. She was like happy-go-lucky Domino, and Domino's not like the cheeriest character out there. She's generally usually pretty pissed off.
I feel that having her be, you know, as cheery and carefree, I felt definitely took away. Now, me personally, Zazie Beetz, fine actor. I feel that they messed up on her look. I mean,
yeah.
I feel that first off, I think she should have been in a full black suit. I think the arms showing was a little silly. I don't really see a whole lot of that in Domino's get-ups. Either she's wearing, you know, civilian clothing that's usually black with a jacket, or she's in like, you know, a Black Widow style suit. Second, and call me old-fashioned for this, I felt that she should have had Crayola white skin with a black patch instead of a vitiligo patch on her eye that was kind of messy and not even like straight. I felt that kind of took away from the look of the character. Also having, you know, the big hair, I guess that's fine, but from a tactical standpoint, okay, sure, she's so lucky she never gets hit. She can style herself however she wants, but just to be safe, you know, you don't want to have your hair that big so someone could just reach out and grab it and pull you in.
Exactly. You know, so like that was, I mean, there wasn't anything that I really caught in the second one, but by all means, like if anything that I missed or I'm not thinking of right now, I'm drawing a blank, by all means, you tossed them out. Because I know there was more. There was more, but like now I'm just, you know, but those were like the major, I don't want to say offenders, but those were definitely the major ones that stood out to me when it first came around.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is Damian and I, we're going to watch all 3 episodes, and what we're going to do is we're going to give a little bit of commentary on each, as well as, you know, just swap some stories. Damian, if you see a scene and it reminds you of how, like, you banged your head on something or you scraped your ass on something or you tore a seam line in the suit, just feel free to point that out. If you soiled yourself more than once, you tell everybody. If you were soiled on, you just tell them about the scenes, man. Just be honest, okay?
Absolutely. The one thing I will say that, like, I've told some people, so now that we're doing it on a broader spectrum, and Chris can definitely attest to this too. You notice, like, the first episode, I'm like very stiff and limited in what I was doing. And then it was like, you know, because again, I was like so awestruck what I was doing because, again, I used to follow Chris as a fan and everything like that before we became friends and everything. So I was like in starstruck mode, and I always wanted to do an acting thing, and then getting called to do this by him was just like, but by the second and third episode, I started to loosen up from it. And the reason why was it wasn't even anything from being around Chris and the crew so much. It was literally, I remember I walked into your house the Sunday because I had a show the night before in Delaware. I got home so late, and I walked in and I went, "Morning, everybody. I'm too tired to be starstruck this morning." So I'm just gonna... And Chris and everybody's there. He's like, "Good, about time. Now loosen up." And then that's how everything kind of started flowing from there.
I will say before we go into this, episode 1 definitely is the weakest of the bunch, just because it's very, you know, very static and still. And you know, as a filmmaker looking back on it now, I would definitely do things differently. But let's get into it first.
Boom. Okay. Look at that beautiful logo.
Yeah, that's the older logo. I've updated it since. I do love this theme. Now, for those of you who may not know, I actually stole this theme from Crank 2, the score. At the time, you know, I was a big fan of Crank, and I liked the music. I believe this was done by Mike Patton, and he had this scene. This is a scene in Crank 2 where Jason Statham walks into like a whore house, a crack house, and just beats the ever-loving crap out of everybody. But we don't see it. We just see bodies flying out of windows and doors getting knocked down. And it was just so bonkers. It worked perfectly for Deadpool.
Absolutely. So
the bar that we're in is called Hell's. Was it called Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah. There's a Hell House.
No. The actual location we're in.
Oh yeah, I think it was called Hell's Kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bar called Hell's Kitchen in Newark, New Jersey. I'm not sure if it's still there. I haven't been there recently, but it is a fantastic location, and making it Hell's House for Deadpool was pretty easy as far as I'm concerned. It just had this nice what's the word I'm looking for? Like this retro cheesecake pinup vibe.
Yeah, you can see like the Marilyn Monroe pictures, and there's even the one that had the 3-dimensional lips on the other wall that you'll see in one of the scenes. It was like it was so great.
Now, with this and everything, this is obviously Deadpool's vision of Typhoid, how he's seeing her.
Yeah,
I do feel this could have been tightened up, and again, that opening sequence with him talking could have just gone a little faster. This is me now just being overly critical of myself.
Now, what I do remember too was like, because you get the zoom ins on my face going in and like that. And I love the mask because the facial features were able to be seen so well.
Yeah, we could see you physically emote, which is awesome.
But I remember I have my jaw drop, and Chris was like, wider, or like. I felt like my jaw was gonna disconnect. I was like, I can't go any wider.
Just unhinge it a little bit. Look, I'll break it. Snap it right down. Any thoughts about this day with filming?
Again, this was like the first thing I did with you guys. So again, I was still kind of nervous, but I was kind of loosening up a little bit and everything like that as we were going. I felt my time, and again, my timing felt a little bit off, especially in the conversation here with Typhoid, because like Mandy kind of like took her time in between lines and everything like that. I was like, I was like looking for, I was like trying to make a conversation a while, and there would be like these long pauses. And I was like, okay.
I feel that, yeah, she was dramatically acting and you were comedically acting, so there was definitely a bit of a disconnect here.
Yeah, we got better with it as we were going, though.
Yeah, this is definitely a feel yourself out situation, I feel. Oh, and I had to specifically put in this scene here because I know that there'd be some like comic nerd, oh, excuse me, Deadpool created Typhoid Mary. It's like, I know, dumbass. Yeah. So, but for the sake of the story, and I felt that's a good way to just, shut everybody up. Like, literally just break the fourth wall, say it, and be done with it.
And the cool thing is, everybody quickly caught the Saved by the Bell Easter egg on that too. They were like, "Oh my God, Saved by the Bell!" Quickly caught it.
Something that he would do, totally. I mean, why not, right?
Exactly. Yeah, this part I started loosening up a little bit. This part as we were going, I was loosening up a little bit.
Well, we'd already been shooting for about like maybe 20, 30 minutes or an hour at this point. We'd done some rehearsals, and yeah, it gets more fluid. I think getting through like the first 3 minutes is probably the toughest part. Until when we go into the alley, that's when, because now we had gone to a secondary location because this is Newark, and then when we go to the alley, that's in New York in Chinatown. So we had.
Oh my God! There's stories from that one. God, there's stories for that. The Chinatown shoot.
I will save it when we get there. I feel. Oh, yeah. One thing I wanted to add. So this part of the script here, this whole stuff inside Hell House was pitched to me by somebody back in like 2006, because he wanted me to do a Deadpool fan film. And at that point, I didn't really know a whole lot about the character, and I just needed a good jumping off point. So, and unfortunately, it's usually when I get ideas from other people, they're the stalest ideas because it didn't come from me organically. And so that's why this particular episode, in my opinion, is the stalest of the bunch, because I'm using part or a portion of somebody else's idea, and it's just slow. This part here, I think we're getting into more of my concepts now. So go on, tell me about Chinatown.
So Chinatown, we'll take a quick pause here. So really quick, going back, so the Green Lantern thing was literally the first improv moment we had, which then became the standard format as we were going forward with episodes that we didn't realize was going to happen. So it got to the point where, yes, we had Chris's script, but then it got to the point where it's like, all right, we're just going to keep this. We're going to just keep doing it. And we go to it. But the Green Lantern thing was my buddy, my acting friend, Mike, who just threw that out there. And we just kind of tossed it in there. I was like, all right, that was pretty funny. We'll leave that in. Now, jumping to Chinatown. So you see her walking down the street. Now, again, as Chris mentioned, we started filming this in January. And I am wearing nothing but this bodysuit and a dancer's belt. which Chris also, backtracking a little bit, made sure we test run. He goes, we'll put the suit on without the dancer's belt. And I come out with it, and he goes, oh, no, put the dancer's belt goes on. Dancer's belt goes on, which I found complimentary.
It looked like you had a little, like, gerbil running around in there.
So, but as you see her walking down the alley, I'm like super stiff walking. It wasn't me trying to spread my wings and be muscular. It's because I was so cold. And
You're like,
stuck in a position.
we're trying to keep your muscles warm so you can walk.
Exactly. All right, moving on. Now, here we go to press play again.
Before we start, one thing I want to also point out. So I had to do the voice, right? What happened was Damian. First off, I would read and act the whole scene out with the actors. Then Damian would come in. I would film, and then he would try to mimic my performance so he'd get the idea and the timing down. Then after he was done, I had to get the microphone because we were shooting on location. I had to then record my lines through memory using his takes in my head and act out the scenes, just sitting there and getting the voice down because I wanted the reverberation to sound right. I didn't want it to sound like it was being recorded afterwards. So yeah. It was a hell of a process.
And then on top of that too is that they would, like once I started getting comfortable and lucid, I just started ad-libbing, and Chris was cool with it. And Chris was like, "All right, you got it, just ad-lib whatever." It would always be we'd do it, and he'd go, "Come, okay, what did you say again?"
Yeah, don't forget it, because I'm using
He's
that.
Like, don't forget what you said. We're using that. Don't forget that. We have to go back in and make sure we got that line and everything. So that's why also like I still had to learn the script regardless. So that's why again the mask works so well. So when Chris does the voice, the lips still match up perfectly.
It was a lot easier with a mask as opposed to not.
Exactly.
Okay, play.
Boom. Okay. Yeah,
challenge accepted.
Boom. Yeah. Yeah, and that little, I worked that in really quick, like the way I slapped my hands to the metal, we actually managed to keep that metal clunking sound in my head. Now, fun thing about this fight scene, if you remember, like Mandy didn't have time to come to do the fight choreography, so one had to teach her on the fly doing this. And for someone that was a dancer, let me tell you, she was like so stiff, like I was legitimately blocking. It was like, oh my God.
She did this like crab walk style thing when she was here, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, stop.
Yeah. And it doesn't get real until, okay, the swords came out. Now this is where we go through the sword play, and I kid you not, people, and Chris can attest, and people that were there, this is me legitimately blocking in choreography because she was swinging for the fences on these. And I was like, okay, I need to block every one of these right now.
Yeah, she's a method actor, so she was going to kill you.
And then you see it too. So if you look at the blade, right there, look how chewed up my blade is from blocking her. It's like,
yeah, those blades
so
got hacked to pieces.
Yeah, because I remember we looked at the map and like, whoa! And Chris looked, he's like, Jesus Christ, you were really blocking us again.
Now, were those mine or yours?
Those were yours. Those were yours.
That's right. We destroyed mine.
Yeah, those were yours. Yeah, the kiss. And the contacts worked out so well too, better than like a straight clear white or something like that.
Well, it made your eyes way more expressive, you know. And
exactly.
The only thing that would have worked better is if we had solid white ones, but you know, visibly, those are harder to see out of.
Exactly.
Now, I will be honest here. I actually don't like any of the boss lady scenes anymore. I feel that they really, really drag, and I know they're for plot exposition, but I kind of wanted to keep those as limited as possible. And again, if I could go back, I really would have either scrapped it all together or just like made them really, really, really fast. Like,
yeah. Well, fun fact to the people watching this, the whole "where's your gear" thing and everything that happened by accident. I forgot my gloves. I forgot my damn gloves that day, and everything like that. And so it was like, all right, we did. And then Chris quickly came up with the whole, casual Fridays thing. And then of course, it's Tuesday. That was a little Easter egg reference to somebody else's short.
Well, no, the Tuesday thing. No, the Tuesday thing was a different thing altogether. That's Raul Julia. We're honoring the man, Raul Julia, because if anybody's ever seen the Street Fighter movie, for you Tuesday
It
was,
was
the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. I love that.
And I
He
would
is
always
that
release
movie.
on Tuesday just because of that,
Yeah.
because I wanted this to be the greatest day of everyone's life.
Yeah, but this one, yeah. So the whole thing with me without my gear, that was completely like, all right, we're just gonna like do this whole thing, and it worked out great. Though, like I think it made the scene funnier because
Yeah.
it created like the different dynamic between Boss Lady and Deadpool. How much of you was a pain in the ass?
I did like
Domino.
the reveal of Domino here and how she, just so angry and bitter. And like we don't even know what her freaking deal is yet, but you can kind of just get it. And then of course there's this tension brewing between her and Elektra. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite shot of this episode was Boss Lady leaning back and then Domino just like being there with her arms crossed.
And Patricia was really good. Patricia was like really awesome. Like she was awesome to work. She was awesome to work with, but two, she was like so good with the character. These guys. And for those of you wrestling fans, the guy all the way on your right side, that is Giovanni Rosselli, formerly of WWE. Which is funny because I told Chris, like, dude, he's a wrestler. And then the sounds when he's hitting my neck later on, those were really him hitting my neck because we were like, all right, it's cool. We can do it.
I still get his emails where it's just like, he does like these health emails and like, guess what I'm up to now? I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't care. Stop emailing me. I'm on your list. Just stop it.
Well, yeah, and then that's the end of episode 1. The Charles in Charge bit was nice too. My wife loves the whole butt shimmy at the end there.
Was that your idea or mine?
Yours. That was you.
Because I do act out everything. So if there's footage of Damian doing something, there's a moment where I did that exact thing and looking twice as stupid.
Yeah, so he's like, I want you to do this thing, shimmy your butt.
Oh, yeah, because I want Charles in charge of me.
I think I know you did this. I think I added a little extra on the booty shake.
Yeah.
And
okay.
then
so that was episode 1.
The fun thing too about episode 2 was what's that ending of episode 1 leading into episode 2. I was actually like trying to get to Chris as fast as possible because I had my daytime job and I was like running like so late and everything like that. And that's again the beginning processes of the improv really start to come through in episode 2. Like it's like a lot of it like episode 2, and there's a lot of good stories with episode 2 and everything as we go through this.
I think episode 2 is probably my favorite just because
oh yeah, absolutely. Episode 2
had everything I wanted in there, and it was fast paced, it was funny, and at that point now we were completely on my idea as opposed to jumping off from somebody else's idea. And I at that point had a better understanding of the character and knew how I wanted to do this because we were shooting these basically weekly, I believe.
Yeah.
With the exception of like some days because of location we'd shoot stuff together, but I was trying to get this thing to be like a weekly release, and I was barely.
Yeah, we were generally shooting on the Sundays, but like this was one of those rare occasions, like you said, though coming up was like a midweek thing. It was like, all right, we got this place today, we got to do it today.
Yeah. So let's just get into it. Let's play episode 2. Okay.
Always love that sound.
I'm
actually glad you finally told me what the music was because I was wondering what the music was for the longest time.
Really? You never saw Crank 2?
Yeah. Crank 2, I have it on DVD and I haven't watched it yet.
I'm shocked.
I'm not me of all people, right? Me of all people.
I think you would have been all over that one. That's got your name on it, bro.
I know. It's like the Expendables franchise.
I didn't care for the Expendables franchise. I think the first one was mediocre at best, and that's it. We're done. So for this, I really wanted to just have Die Motherfucker Die play. I thought that was just a great way to open up anything and set the tone.
Oh, the first guy here, I remember the first guy there got his lip busted on that neck prank.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the sounds here, again, with Giovanni sitting my neck, those are legit sounds because we were like, again, wrestlers and everything like that. And then, yeah, the why you shooting yourself, that was like one of the first like real improv moments. It was like, why you shooting yourself? Why you shooting yourself?
I thought that was funny.
Like, I like that. We're going to keep that one.
This location is a liquor store warehouse in New Jersey City. And I just happened to know one of the managers, and I'm like, hey, can I film here? And he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, Deadpool. He goes, yeah, sure, dude. So that was that.
Hey, man, how's it hanging?
So this
another improv
right
moment.
here, I think it actually ended up getting not memed, but like fan arted later on. I just
Into a meme.
What?
Yeah, it is a meme. I have it.
But was it did it happen after or before this?
It happened after this,
Okay.
because they used the picture of the still shot of me doing this, and then it was they had the drawing on the bottom of Deadpool like burning the village with a magnifying glass that says Deadpool finally found Smurf Village.
Yeah, I thought that would just be funny. I wanted to have well, we did Sesame Street and then they did Smurf Village, but I just wanted to have like the dumbest question possible that he could ask, that you know that you're never going to be able to give a correct answer and you're going to die. And asking where Sesame Street is, like, no one knows where Sesame Street is, technically. So.
Yeah. Me smacking his hand like a little kid, that was like another improv moment. Oh, this part here is hilarious coming up. There's a couple of stories with this whole Domino.
Go into it. Tell me what's up.
All right, so that first kick was not me selling the kick, because I remember I taught her the back kick, and she nailed me on that one. So that was a legitimate grunt, because the combat boots she had was like, oh, God, got me. And then I remember Chris telling her he wanted her to be more intense as she was going, and Patricia can do intense, which you can see with the...
Yeah, I told her not to yell. I said, get quiet. And when you're quiet and soft-spoken, that's when, you know, someone's fucked up.
And then, so she does it, and when she does the, you know, stay the fuck away, she literally snapped the rifle in half. Like, I remember Chris had the blooper reel. I wish she still had it. When she goes, oh my God, like she completely was girly about it, because he snaps the rifle in half. And she's like, oh my God, I broke it.
Well, the gun was collapsible, right? Was that gun collapsible, but she didn't know?
It was collapsible, but she actually broke it at the hinge, because she got so intense and she broke it at the hinge. Oh, the baby face. No. Do the baby face. Again, one of those moments where the mask shows the face really good. Oh, there's the big lips.
Well, the suit, for the most part, I believe actually the mask was made out of Under Armour.
Yeah, it was like nice and thin. It was like perfect.
Yeah, it was very breathable.
So this was a fun scene for me.
How so?
All right, so if we remember, Mandy was like very sick. With the like running nose and everything.
Yes, she did.
Very sick. So she's like all up in my face, and I'm like, and you know, like she had literally just finished blowing her nose and wiping her nose.
You were wearing a mask.
It was just like,
kids, masks work.
Yeah, so it's like this reaction here is like,
we should have done like Aliens 3. With like the xenomorph coming into Ripley, and she's like,
and the cross-eyed.
So I don't remember how the hell I came up with this idea, but I wanted to have something that was so batshit insane and stupid. Now, I used to work for a costume store, so I'm still friends with the owner, and I walked in and I go, hey, you know, can we use one of the big suits? He goes, sure, whatever you want. I went upstairs to the section I was looking, and I found the Gingerbread Man suit. I'm like, I want this. He goes, okay. And it was just so stupid having this giant fluffy, you know, foam suit and everything.
And I remember you were like so happy too. We stopped at like a supermarket to get that chimichanga.
Oh yeah,
and he
went to 7-Eleven, I think, and
7-Eleven, and literally found like the most awesome packaging, and it was like, oh my God, this is like the perfect one, right? Big old chimichanga on it and everything.
There are too many Easter eggs in this scene, from the moves that you're doing, like the Naruto style running, to the Mortal Kombat theme, to the Hadouken at the end.
The Jean-Claude Van Damme style kick, everything. Because I did the big spin kick like Van Damme on purpose. And
it's just a lot. And we're shooting this in my hometown here in just a park, and I can only wonder what the passerbys were thinking as they're driving by, and they're just.
And it's rain. It doesn't look like it's raining that day too. It was like raining.
No, it was light snow. It was light snow.
Oh right, yeah. The ground.
But like because the ground is kind of sort of dusted over. But can you imagine those cars driving by and seeing a giant gingerbread man getting his ass kicked and everything? So
that was our suck it moment to steal there.
Yeah.
And I know that the gumballs was improv too, because like I remember I was like, oh, what if we did some gumballs? They're like, we need gumballs. So we picked up the gumballs. And they're like, that'd be great. I love this part.
This is basically Deadpool. This is what happens when he has sex. He just goes somewhere else in his mind, and he missed the whole thing. I don't know how
I was so proud of this one. This one I was so proud of.
Yeah. Okay. So for this scene, he has to scream at Weasel. Then I had to scream at Weasel, and I had to get his pacing down and make sure that none of the dialogue overlapped with Weasel and everything. So that was annoying, but yeah, it worked.
So as I had mentioned, when I started loosen up was thankfully because I wrestled the day before to loosen up. So this was the first showing of me finally like just throwing caution to the wind and finally being comfortable around and everything like that. And Chris and I really coming together on this whole thing, and him like saying, "Dude, whatever you feel, go for it," and made me really feel comfortable. My thing was always the lines. So the first episode, like when we had with the big eye patches, I remember I had a hard time doing that one. But I was like, man, I'm gonna nail this one. I'm gonna nail this one. And like I remember Trevor, who played Sabretooth, was coaching me through it, and we're going through it. And I come out and I literally nailed it in one take. I nailed the whole thing in one take. And I remember like everybody going, yeah. This was like it came out so good. It's so natural. And this part right here,
go do it again.
You're like clockwork, and it managed to do it again. But I remember I did like the Chris Farley thing. I wanted to keep a whole Chris Farley feel to it. And the one thing that makes me love this part so much too is this is my oldest son's favorite scene. Every time we watch it, every time my kids in the house, we watch this one, they all go out simultaneously in the living room. I know! They all do it at the same time and everything. It's the loudest thing in the house. I know! And then the eyes of joy. All right, I'm good. But yeah, I was so proud of this one. This was like the one I really loosened up and felt good.
It was a great scene, and I really do feel that you pulled that one off. Just the over the topness. This is a definitive Deadpool moment. I feel for the character. Like there are other elements. He may have not done that, but I feel that this particular scene, no, he would have definitely done that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
We had the Power Rangers little beep in there. I thought that was funny.
And people loved it. People loved all that Easter egg stuff you had in it. The eyes, that showed how great that mask was. It captured like the expression so well. Oh, this one where I actually had Chris dying behind the camera and laughing coming up.
I feel that it would not have looked good if we didn't have the context. I feel that your eyes would have been lost. We would have just had two giant black patches. So I'm very happy that we got the contacts in for this.
Yeah. My hands hiding behind my back because I didn't have the gloves.
Yeah, this is still the same day that we shot. So we just had to. The other scene, we could not get away with him not having gear because he kept using his hands. But in this scene, he's just staying there getting reprimanded. So it was easier to fake and just have the hands out of shot for this. I don't know how the hell we forgot the fucking gloves. That was just nuts.
Yeah.
I wanted this piano theme in there so badly. I thought it was...
Now this is the best part is, okay, so I start doing the walking back and forth. It was originally just supposed to be me walking out. But then I just kept going back and forth. And then Chris is behind the camera trying not to laugh because I kept looking back. And because the first one was me looking for a cut. And I was like, okay. So I just kept going back and forth. And he's like, oh. And Chris is like holding his breath, trying not to. And he finally yells cut. And Chris dies laughing at the end of it.
That's when you know you've done good.
Yeah. This whole thing here. There's my buddy Mike. That's the guy that yells Green Lantern that gets slammed there.
I feel that now because Deadpool is a pansexual. He should have taken Ron with him. Yeah,
that's our friend Ron. Ron was the guy that's getting grabbed here. Ron was actually the Gingerbread Man as well.
He was, and for that, because the suit, his head was too small, the giant suit just kind of flopped down. It looked like he was deflating. So I had to have him wear like this giant motorcycle helmet underneath the suit to keep it big and puffy. And he was dying in there because even though it's January, he's in this suit. He's got whatever he's wearing underneath, plus this giant foam outfit and a helmet on. He was just sweating. It was nuts.
Remember how shy I was slapping their asses because I'm married, so I was like so shy slapping their asses. They're like, just slap them. I'm like, I was like, sorry.
I can imagine like Veronica just being like this. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Slap him. Slap him.
She told me I should have slapped him. Oh, Angel. best hooker dog ever.
And that concludes
And
episode
that's
2.
episode 2.
I originally wanted to just have the regular Walking on Sunshine, but there was actually a copyright issue with YouTube. You know, they have the algorithm and everything. So unfortunately, I had to use this cover version. I mean, it works, but I would have loved to have the original 80s version. I thought that would have been fun.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Episode 2 was definitely my favorite because, again, it was like I finally loosened up and everything like that. And I got used to being around everybody because, again, I had done, you know, when I met Chris, I'd been doing wrestling for well over 10 years, 15 years at this point. And you could name wrestlers out the wazoo. And I was like, yeah, this one, this one. But this was a whole new realm for me because this was like tapping into my geekdom and my fandom. And like I said, I followed Chris for so long, watched all his stuff. And the people I was getting to work with, I had seen Mandy and other projects and everything like that. And I'd always wanted to do acting. So like the fact that I was doing this of all things for the first thing I was ever doing was like, But like, again, just coming in tired on the second one was such a blessing.
Well, let's give a little backstory as to how you and I met. It was 2010, I believe. And we were at Comic-Con. And I was dressed up as the Joker. I had grown my hair out, and Mandy was with me. She was Catwoman because I was doing the Mr. J series at the time. And I had Harley Quinn with me. I had Scarecrow, and I had Poison Ivy. And you were in a Green Lantern costume because I have this photo of the two of us together. And, you know, you stopped me, and we started talking. I'm like, oh, hey, cool, you know, and it was nice to meet you and all that. And then but you I believe you just kept saying, like, if you ever do, like, a Deadpool, let me know.
Yeah.
Like, I think you.
And then I had said that because I was a big fan. I was like, if you ever do Deadpool, let me know. And then also I think I was getting ready to start doing the Nerd Herders podcast. And nerd podcasting hadn't been done yet. Nerd Herders was like the first one that like literally grandfathered in like all these other ones that we had. So I was like, hey, you know, if you ever have time, we'd be freaking honored to have you on. And I think you shortly we had you on, and then everything kind of went from there.
And then, you know, you flash forward to, I guess, basically a year and a half later, because Comic-Con was the end of 2010. Then all 2011, I was doing some stuff. Then 2012 was coming up, and I had decided to finally do the Deadpool web series. And I just randomly called you, and I'm like, hey, would you like to do Deadpool? And you're like, ah!
Well, actually, did you ever hear the story? Because I know I've said the story in wrestling interviews because I have done wrestling interviews and people have asked about Deadpool in the wrestling interviews of all things.
Okay, tell me.
So the other side of the phone call, because you know your side of it. So the other side of the phone call, the days, mind you, we had flip phones.
Yes, the days of flip phones. I was actually walking through Newark, where I was living at the time, near a cemetery, no less, when I called you. Go ahead.
So the wife and I were loading up our then 2 children into the car because we were taking them all to go see Santa Claus for our annual photo. And locking the kid in, and my phone rings, and, you know, I had the ID in the front, and I look at her, and I goes, Notaриle's coming, calling. My wife goes, well, you better pick it up then. So I pick it up, and then Chris proceeds to say,
hey, we're going to be doing a Deadpool web series. Would you like to, you know, be Deadpool?
So I'm on the other side, and I'm trying to play it cool, which obviously didn't work. I was like, so he says, I look at her, she's like, yeah, sure, I'd love to be Deadpool. I'd be so honored. Like, I'm trying to be so professional about it, but I'm sure it was still coming through as not. But in my head, I was professional. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then that's when, you know, Chris laid out the quick blueprint for me and everything like that on that. And then he's like, yeah, man, you know, so you told me when to come down so we could do a couple of reads and put me in the suit and everything like that. So, you know, we work out those details. I said, all right, cool. So I hang up, and I'm literally in the middle of the street outside of my house. There's people outside, and I live in the ghetto. And my kids are locked in the car, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm like jumping up and down around my wife's car going ballistic. And she says, what? And I says, and she loves the character too. I actually fell in love with the character via her. She collected the books first, and then I started.
Wow.
Yeah, so she started with Deadpool first, and she's like, you got to read this because she's like, this is you. She's like, this is so you. And then I saw it, and I was like, oh my god. I said, no, really, just contacted me to be a Deadpool in his series. And oh my god, she's flipping out for me and everything like that. Then as the time goes on and we're filming this, one of my favorite things ever. And I told Chris this story because, again, I'm very random. And I think that's why Chris and I get along together so well, because we're always Easter egging and random and da-da-da-da. I say one of my random moments to her, and she goes, you know what? Nota really did cast Deadpool correctly. You're an idiot. And then that was that. But yeah, so like episode 2, like you, absolutely my favorite. I know a lot of other people said it was their favorite too. But there's some funny stuff out of 3 as well, and I got a couple of stories out of that one as well.
All right, well then let's get into it. All right.
All right. Love it. Can't tell you how many times I've watched these things.
So for this particular episode, we wanted to start off things a little differently. I wanted to, Roberto Lombardi was my Freddy Krueger from my Krueger series, and we had only at that point done the first Krueger, and we had done Nightmares and Halloween, and I'm just, he was getting some really good press, so I wanted to just try and rope him into this one as best as possible. And I think your contacts look great in this shot here, just like the way you pop your head out.
Yeah, like they're so bright with this filter and everything. It came out so good.
Yeah.
I was like trying to capture. I was trying to get my my Lou Costello on in this whole thing in the beginning.
Oh, I get it. Actually, with that claw, I might have already done episode 2 of Krueger, which was the kidnapping one. I think I had done that also in.
Tommy, Mr. Rogers. I love the Mr. Rogers line. Oh, the face really comes through in this part. The face. I remember Chris dying on the face. No.
Because I know that there now is fandom of this as well. There's fandom of this where Deadpool meets Freddy Krueger, and he's like, you're my new dream friend because I can't die and you can't kill me, so we're gonna hang out every night. And Freddy's like, no.
Yeah.
I wonder if that.
It's a good possibility because I hadn't seen it until this. But I remember again. I just remember Chris dying laughing when I made the face in the mask. And this was like one of the last ones I was super starstruck because again I knew of Roberto in so many projects that nobody had did. So I was like, I remember. I think Chris remembers too. When Roberto first walks in the door, I was just like, oh. I was like, oh my god.
I want to throw in the Green Lantern plushie here. This is now we're gonna just like we try to throw in as many Ryan Reynolds jokes as possible.
Actually, here we go. Here's another one. Walking in the bathrobe. The whole bathrobe thing that he did in the end. This was our this whole thing.
It would have been just too funny had we actually done the Ferris Bueller thing and then they copied it. But no, this was sufficient.
Because like the robe is even almost similar to what you had. Like yeah. There, go to wash the hands. Yeah.
So you are bare-legged in tidy whities in this scene.
In tidy whities.
And I had to paint your thighs to look cancer-ridden and moldy. So that was fun. That
was a fun early morning for Chris.
That was balls deep in August.
Yeah. I'm Puerto Rican. You're lucky you didn't get pregnant.
But how did you know?
So this is a cool club scene. We had access to this place, but it was in, I believe, upstate New York. So it was a bit of a drive to get there, but it was just a really nice club, apparently. Beatrice, who was Elektra, I guess, knew somebody who owned it. Or
Beatrice was a connect. I remember Beatrice connected that one. And then
this here is in Manhattan. This is a building down by Wall Street. This is amazing.
It took us forever to find parking before we got into it.
Oh yeah, pain in the ass. Don't ever look for parking in Manhattan. I was so upset. We were really, building up here with the introduction of Emma Frost, and having things look nice, and finally giving Sabretooth a chance to speak.
But the thing about this too, this episode was literally supposed to be the jumping off point. Like this was literally Like this is like the roller coaster moment. This is like the roller coaster moment when you get to that peak, and then right when you get to, this was the peak of the roller coaster, and from here it was supposed to just like take off. Like it was supposed to completely take off after this episode.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. For those of you who don't know, we got attacked by Fox. They had sent a cease and desist basically and copyright strike my channel. So I had no choice but to take it down. This is a location also down in Manhattan, this cool apartment. I was actually really proud of the way this fight turned out. I believe you choreographed this, didn't you, Damian?
Trevor and I did a lot of the choreography together. Trevor, this one I got stuck at work, stupid construction. So Trevor took the lead on this one. But I do remember the story out of it where it got kind of real for a moment. I heard about where like Mandy, because again Mandy just didn't want to come to fight rehearsals because she was always too busy. And Patricia was very serious. Patricia was there for everything. She didn't care. She was like going for everything. And
yeah, because she was practicing in my apartment.
Yeah. And the axe kick coming up when she's got Mandy on the floor, because Mandy actually belted Patricia. So Patricia on this part coming up, boom, literally went to go take Mandy's head off on that one.
You know, sometimes it's good when they hate each other. That way the fight looks a little bit more real.
Oh, I heard about that. Trevor told me, he's like, man, Patricia tried to stomp Mandy's skull.
I have to say I was really proud of Patricia's makeup in this because, you know, it looks real and having the blood come out and the wounds and everything. It did.
Yeah, it helped, like, and it helped good. It helped. Yeah. I still don't know how you managed to do a perfect damn circle every time. Like it was like perfect.
I actually took an eyeliner and I traced it out first and then I color it in.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Okay, so coming up is the thing. I studied this dance because the one thing Chris also noticed about me, I'm a good mimic. I can mimic very well. I studied this dance for about a week from the original movie and everything like that.
Man. It's almost on point.
I got the pink shirt. I got everything. And I also recall there was, because Chris and I weren't alone here. Some of the female actresses made it a point to be there that day, even though they weren't needed. And apparently there were some comments that my dancer's belt didn't hide as much as it should.
At least there are no skid marks.
Yeah. My wife, this is my wife's favorite part of the entire series right here. This is that part right there.
Do it again, Damian.
And apparently, other fun story. I have no problem with the LGBT community and all that stuff, and I have a lot of friends. I actually have a fan who I became really good friends with because of that scene. He's like, oh, I can't tell you how many times I've watched this scene.
It's funny because when you wrestle, you're in a Speedo for the most part, right? And it's like you think that would be enough. No, it's this.
It's this. Yeah. I guess because they're white, so it's kind of it's noticeable.
Sure. But I made you double up. You were wearing something underneath that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I remember this part.
I didn't want to have
too
an
much
actual ball in the camera because this is for YouTube.
Yeah, we had to yeah. I remember this here. Now the guy playing Weasel is actually taller than me, so henceforth we did all this leaning and stuff like that to make it look like whatever. I love another one of those moments with the mask that catches the facial expression really good. There actually is, if you remember too, I put the Pop-Tart in it. I take the Pop-Tart out, I go to eat it, and I'm like, I just throw the Pop-Tart away.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I go to eat the Pop-Tart, I'm like, and I just throw it away.
Oh, I forgot. I used to have a Stitch cookie jar. I missed that little guy.
Wasn't that the day I brought you like my homemade Italian meatballs finally too?
I think we did have those, yeah.
Yeah, you were just eating like these are good cold. I'll just eat them like this.
Oh no, yeah. I am never above eating a cold meatball. I don't care if it's warm, cold, whatever. Throw it in a sandwich. I'm good.
And Trevor's big moment.
This is a cool scene.
Yeah, everybody Trevor's beaten up in this is all acting friends he brought in. Unfortunately, the one girl got her nose busted, but she was cool about it.
Comes with the territory. That was a cool shot of him just leaping over me because he's like 6'5".
Oh, he's huge.
And he jumped up on a thing. He got about a good, because I was sitting down, so he got about a good 4 or 5 feet in the air over me.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So the part where he was at the bar, that was where the girl got her face slammed into the bar counter, and everything like that, and it was like, oh god. And then coming up, oh, I'm gonna let Chris take the lead on the last story on this one coming up.
Part.
Victor trying all of us trying to get Beatrice through the Victor line.
No, I almost forgot. Okay.
Mind you, it was really late by the point that this came out, this really late at night. I think it was like 1 a.m. already.
It doesn't matter. So Elektra is essentially silent for the whole series, and she actually had a little bit more dialogue in the scene, but she was not getting it.
It was flat.
At all. And I'm giving her line reads, I'm feeding her, and they're coming out like you've heard better acting from like, you know, Johnny Sims or something, you know? And I basically had to cut a ton of her lines, make her essentially silent. And that I was dreading because the episode after, she has to have a whole bunch of dialogue with Deadpool. And I'm like, oh crap, how are we going to pull that one off? And then sure enough, of course, you know, we get canceled. But yeah, it was daunting. It was
but
really
I remember
daunting.
that just her saying Victor.
Victor?
I remember because we were trying to get Chris was trying to get a particular inflection out of her, which was more of the idea was like questioning, like, what did you do? It was like, Victor, like, what did you do? So Chris is trying to, and then all of a sudden Trevor, who's Sabretooth, is jumping in trying to tell her how to do it, and then I'm like, Victor, like it's the three of us. It's like inside
but she's saying
order.
it the same way each time though. So
every single time.
So this is me. I'm like, Victor, 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 Victor. Oh, God damn it, woman.
So Chris is doing it, and then Trevor's doing it, and I'm doing it, and then it was like.
And then she had another line after that. I just remembered it now. When Sabretooth says, you know, you better run, he like it tells her to basically run, and her line is, I don't run. And she's like, I don't run. I don't run. And I'm like, okay, that's good. It's great. And I cut the line, obviously. I just wanted to give her the one fucking line because that was the only thing that came out that was halfway usable. And I'm not trying to bash you know, her acting or anything, but like, man, was that
it was just not happening that night.
It was not working that night. So
but leading up to that, because they did now here's the thing, they did do the whole fight scene. And we would always practice the fight scenes in Chris's house. So the day Trevor and Beatrice are going through this, Patricia was there and I was there. Because again, I helped out with the car. And Patricia just came, you know, because she came to do her fight choreography and learn her half from what she did. And then we were there hanging out. So she and I are on the couch and everything. We're watching things. And there was like that brief moment where it was like fighting meets dirty dancing, the scene on the floor. And Patricia and I are snickering like two teenage children on the couch like we're snickering at them because the way it looks and the sound she's making, the way the hair's flipping.
It was too sexual. It should not have been
it was
as
no
sexual as she was making it.
Longer looking like fighting.
Yeah.
It was no longer looking like fighting. So she and I are being very juvenile and immature and laughing, but we're trying to keep it down. And Chris is filming it just so he can have something to work with. And I remember at one point Chris goes, can we get enough out of the peanut gallery over here and grow up a little bit? We're like, sorry. And then we go back to go, we go back to laughing in the corner.
I'm like, hey.
Yeah, Chris was being very, like, you know, the father that day on telling Patricia and I to grow up. We were like, don't make me turn this color around.
I swear to God, I will cancel this series if you don't stop right now.
I think you said that.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to read a scene from the Deadpool script that was never made. As you know, after episode 3, there was this whole huge cliffhanger in which Boss Lady is kidnapped and Deadpool has to go rescue her with Domino and Elektra. And there's a great scene where Deadpool squares off against Sabretooth, and we never got to it, unfortunately.
And we had a hell of a fight scene planned for that one, too.
We had a hell of a fight scene. We had a huge setup for it and never came to fruition. So what we're going to do now is we're going to read that scene and act it out for you so you kind of get a little idea as to what's going on. All right. So in this scene, basically, Deadpool is in the middle of fighting Sabretooth, and Sabretooth has just had it with him. He's been dealing with his bullshit, and he straight up murders Deadpool, just kills him. As he's just like, I think he like crushes his spine, whatever. Then we cut to, there were 3 versions of this scene. The first scene, the first version of it involved Death. I wanted to have Deadpool and Death having a picnic, but I was trying to go for maximum funny, and I didn't think that Death worked. So then the second scene I wanted to, and this is the one I really wanted, was Pinkie Pie, because we had released this image.
Oh yeah,
yeah, of Deadpool and Pinkie Pie together, and I thought that that would have been really funny, but I couldn't figure out how to animate that, and I really wanted to get Andrea Libman to do Pinkie Pie, but it just wasn't in the cards. So we got to the third version of the scene, which is the Punisher, because we had a Punisher at the time. So the Punisher appears before Deadpool in a vision. So Damian, if you could please start off the scene and set the stage for us.
absolutely. So we're at the warehouse with a knocked out Deadpool, well, dead Deadpool in Pool-O-Vision. Deadpool is lying on the floor as the Punisher walks up to him.
What are you doing on the floor? Getting my ass kicked? Are you fucking kidding me? No, I'm definitely getting my ass kicked. What are you gonna do about it? Not get my ass kicked? Attaboy. Well, how do you propose I do that? This guy is like Beefcake Mountain. What are his weaknesses? Carbs? Every enemy has a weakness. Find it and exploit it. That's all fine and good, but it's not like I can get Wi-Fi in these dream sequences. I mean, come on! I'm in the middle of a fight! Do I have to spell it out for you? Well, I would definitely save me some time. These episodes are only 10 minutes. Fine, take this.
The Punisher hands Deadpool a binder.
What is it? The script. Good luck.
The Punisher turns and walks away as Deadpool opens up the script. He reads from it as his eyes open wide with knowledge.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes!
Back at the warehouse, Sabretooth crunches his foot on Deadpool again. He then looks down at him and smirks. You're pathetic, Wade. He turns and walks away. Slowly, Deadpool raises his hand.
That's not what your mother said last night.
What?
Oh, yeah. Didn't you hear?
My mother is dead.
Oh, I know. And I'll tell you, it was a real pain in the ass, but I found her and I dug her up.
What?
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, for a dead chick, she is pretty limber. What's the matter? Kitty mad?
Don't talk about my mother!
Aw, did I hurt Kitty's feelings? What's wrong, Vic? Don't you want to hear how I shagged your mom? Huh? Oh, yeah, that's right. I boinked her.
Shut up!
I boinked her. I boinked her.
Shut up!
You should have been there, man. Wolverine and I ran a train on her. It was fucking epic.
Motherfucker!
That's what she said!
I'll kill you!
Bring it, Scooby.
Sabretooth charges for Deadpool as Deadpool readies for a second battle. Sabretooth drops to the floor unconscious at Deadpool's feet.
What the? Oh, come on. Are you fucking kidding me?
Deadpool notices a dart sticking out of Sabretooth's neck. He then looks up to see Elektra holding a dart gun.
Really? I mean, really? I had him.
I'm sure.
God damn it, every time. And scene.
Boom.
So yeah, that was the that would have been well, the fight scene itself was pre-version of that, where before the scene happens, Sabretooth is kicking the ever-loving crap out of Deadpool. But by that point, we knew that we were kind of running over time, and again, the episodes were only 10 minutes, so I didn't want to go into a secondary fight because I felt that would have been just silly. So just having Elektra ex machina him out of that situation, I thought was funny.
Well, just to kind of like give some people somewhat of a vision of the fight scene. We had a good, really, really good fight scene planned out where I was gonna bust in, take up a couple other baddies, and then look around and be looking for him. And then of course he's gonna stand. And again, Trevor was huge. He's like 6'5", and I am 5'7" 3/4. And with age, I have shrunk down to 5'6" 3/4 now. So I'm an inch shorter than I was then. Nevertheless, he towers over me. So I remember he's like, he's behind me, isn't he? It was like one of those. He's like, behind me, isn't he?
It was gonna be like that Undertaker meme.
Yeah,
I want it like that, where he's just there all of a sudden.
Yeah, Undertaker and AJ Styles before that happened. That's exactly what it was. And it's just like, fuck. And I turn around and go to. There was one point though, like we're working through the fight scene, and I remember like Trevor like plunked me right in the head, and boom, I took a header, fell right on Chris's floor. I was like, ah. He's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, okay, we're good. Let's keep going. And everything like that. But it was gonna be like this epic fight scene because it was like gonna be the first real juicy one.
And we were gearing up for it. I believe we'd filmed another scene that was unreleased, and I've lost the footage since. But in that script, in that episode, or the one before it, because this was from episode 5. In episode 4, Deadpool is doing an ode to Reservoir Dogs, where he takes a straight razor and slices off the ear to a stuffed animal version of Mickey Mouse because he's on house arrest. And then Elektra comes in and tells him what happened. And they go, what?
Irony, when you say?
Yeah, irony. So anyway.
All the things.
So that was the setup. And then, yeah, we were going to literally film, I'd say, that weekend. But in that time span of releasing episode 3, episode 3 had only been online for a couple of days when, boom, the copyright strike happened. And I was just blown away. I was like, holy shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
I didn't know if I wanted to continue or not because I was scared at that point, and they scared me. So I said, screw it.
Yeah. The sad thing about that too was like, with the Reservoir Dog scenes, that was another one of those moments of Chris taking advantage of me being able to mimic. So I literally like again verbatim watched the video and did every move, dance move, everything. I mean, I had that.
And I got the camera work down too. We had the wide shot, the panning back and forth.
Everything.
And when you started chopping the air, I literally just panned away. And then
we had everything.
And you had to, because that was a real razor, and we only had one stuffed animal, so we had to get it right. So you're chopping off the ear, and then you pull it off, and I turn back to you, and you're like, "Hello, can you hear me now?"
Yeah, and it was like the Deadpool mask and gloves with the exact outfit on. I mean, I had boots on, the whole 9 yards. Like we really like had it down. Like,
After episode 4, there was episode 5, the final fight sequence. Then episode 6 was going to be Deadpool trying to sue Spider-Man for copyright infringement. And he ends up stealing Daredevil's costume just to get Matt Murdock to come to his house so he can sit him down for a lawsuit. And Matt's just like, fuck off, Wade. And then in that
you had an incredible casting person casted for a potential Kingpin as well.
We did. We had a Kingpin that was going to come into play. I don't know. I don't think he actually. I think we ended up going and not using Kingpin. I think we were going to go with White Queen. Kingpin was a possibility, but I think we said no to that one.
Oh yeah, because I remember Paul, but like Paul looked amazing. Like this guy looked. Yeah. This guy was whoa.
He was a tall, heavy-set dude. He shaved his head and everything, but I don't think it worked, and I think we ended up going with White Queen instead. But then the later villain was going to be what was her name? The doctor who was obsessed with Deadpool.
Oh yes.
I don't remember.
I think we were even. I think I don't remember, but I think you were even trying to figure out how to do like. Is there a way we could mock a twisted arm or something like that? 'Cause I remember there was like at one point you wanted to try.
Well, the plot of it was that she creates evil Deadpool, and he is a composite of all Deadpool's severed limbs stitched together. So I think what we were going to do for that, you'd have to basically like just kind of walk like this and like contort yourself essentially. But the story was that, and I had no idea how we were going to pull that one off anyway, but I was going to at least try. She kidnaps Domino, and Deadpool goes to rescue her. and she says, "I'll give you back Domino if you have a threesome with me and Evil Deadpool," and he's just like, weighing his options. What would you say was your favorite moment of doing this series?
Honestly, just like the way, again, honestly getting together and doing it and watching the footage back and laughing so hard at it. Because I remember we were like, like sitting in your office and we would watch the playback footage shortly, and we would just like laugh and like go. It literally felt like magic. It felt like magic because we had a good group of people and everything like that when they were because we were so into it and so dedicated. And at first, again, for me, I was just like happy-go-lucky being there. But I know for some other people, this is like, acting was their life, their passion. But like it changed everybody in the sense it was like everybody really took personal interest in it and love in it. So where like became like every Sunday we were getting together to have some fun and do what we did. And I think it showed on a lot of the stuff that we did. And it was an amazing experience because we had like a really cool crew once we got comfortable with each other.
At the risk of invoking a Vin Diesel meme, it felt like family.
Yeah, definitely. I know, which is like the thing. I was trying to avoid that.
Yeah, but it felt like that. It was a really nice synergy that was occurring between all of us. And, for about a solid 2 months, we were just seeing each other consistently every weekend.
Yeah.
And
then to ask you, like, because I remember I watched all your stuff. Was with Deadpool, like this was, I guess, potentially like the largest group you had done for a fan series, right? Was this like the largest?
We had kept everything kind of small and quick. I mean, prior to that, the Mr. J series, you have extras here and there, but having an ensemble cast is it's a lot for you to take in, and having, again, filling that bar with extras that were ours, and the people that were getting their asses kicked by Deadpool in episode 2. Yeah, it was definitely pretty big for a fan film.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, just it's still, again, the fact that people are still watching it, still loving it, and then like loving it globally. Like I've been hit up on my Damian Dragon page. I got hit up from like a guy like out in Russia. And he's like, "Oh, we love it out here." And and I sent him a picture all the way out to Russia and everything. And he's like, "Oh man, we love." And then, again, to see it translated into all these languages and still going, and it's only 3, and people still begging for more, which we obviously wish we can do, but still, like the fact that you guys still love it and support it is incredible.
Yeah, it was really nice to be able to pull it off, and the reactions have just been great. My only regret is that it's hard to find online these days, but it's not now. Actually, if you search the Deadpool web series, you'll probably find it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe there'll be a link in the description below. I don't know. All right, let's wrap this up. Damian, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Well, you can find me on the old Instagram at dvargas802 for the nerd podcast I had mentioned, where I first was privy to getting Notarile on there like that. You can find us on Nerd Herders Rebooted on Facebook. We do the last Tuesday of the month. We do kind of a monthly geek wrap up of things and everything like that. And other than that, my US Shotokai, I have a karate school over in Jersey, so US Shotokai on Instagram as well.
Cool. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching our Deadpool retrospective. We hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below. Tell us your favorite moments about Deadpool. And, be sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And hopefully, maybe we'll do something else again in the future. Who knows? Bye, everybody.
Bye.